Hello and welcome to Home Studies e-learning for Advanced. Thanks for joining us again. In this video, we'll take a look at the Reading and Use of English Part 7, the gapped text. We'll look at exactly what you need to do in this part of the exam and how to approach the task. We'll give you tips and strategies to help you deal with it, and you'll do some practice exercises to help you improve. Before you get started, remember to print out the PDF handout of this unit so you can easily make notes and underline key information during the tasks. Or, if you don't have a printer, you can download it to a different device and use a highlighting tool for note-taking. So, first of all, what do you need to do in Part 7? Well, in this part of the exam, you'll be presented with a text that's between 650 and 800 words long. 6 paragraphs from the text have been removed. You can see on the exam paper the gaps where these paragraphs have been taken from. You'll find the 6 paragraphs in question below the reading text. You need to decide which paragraph goes in which gap. You'll be given 7 paragraphs, A to G. One of these is extra and won't fit in any of the gaps. In Part 7, each answer is worth 2 marks. The Part 7 task examines quite specific skills. You'll be tested on your ability to understand how a text is structured. In its correct order, the text will be coherent. That means the text will make sense to the reader, without any omissions or confusion. The task will also test your ability to understand how an argument is developed through a text of this length, how the writer introduces and builds their case. Finally, the task tests your ability to understand how a writer creates cohesion, that is, how he or she connects ideas together using devices such as synonyms or the use of pronouns. So now we've looked at what you need to do, but how should you approach Part 7? Well, many candidates find this to be the most difficult reading task, so it can take up a lot of time. Some people even spend up to 20 minutes on it, which could hurt you in other parts of the exam. Remember, time is limited, so if you know you'll take longer here, try to save time by doing other tasks more quickly. Part of the training in this course is to see what your strengths are and which tasks you can race through. So give yourself enough time, but also not so much time that you're struggling with the other sections. Keep an eye on the clock. The first thing you should do is to read through the whole text very quickly first, to get a general feel of it. When you do this, don't focus on each gap separately. You need to get an idea of the structure and understand the development of the theme of the text in order to do the task well. Candidates frequently make the wrong choices by selecting an option which fits the text before the gap, but neglecting to check that the text after the gap follows on smoothly. So avoid making this mistake. Thirdly, look for links between various paragraphs. Connecting words or phrases like moreover, in addition, in contrast, will help you work out how the paragraphs fit together. Words like they, so, there, and those that refer to other parts of the text will also provide useful clues. Finally, try to eliminate wrong answers. If you aren't sure when it comes to a particular gap, start by eliminating the wrong answers and write down which ones you eliminated. This way, when you come back to it later, you'll have fewer options to choose from. As I mentioned, in this part of the exam, it's really important to look for the links the writer makes between paragraphs. These links are used to tell a story or develop an argument. There are three main types of links that you'll need to look for. The first kind of link is when ideas are linked through vocabulary. This happens when an idea is introduced in one paragraph and then developed in the next one. You probably won't find the same word repeated. That would be too easy. But you should look for synonyms or words from the same word family. The next kind of link is when ideas are linked grammatically. One of the most useful things to be aware of here is the use of pronouns. So if one of the paragraphs begins with she, it, or these, think about what these pronouns refer to. They must refer back to something or someone that's already been mentioned in the text. Another important kind of grammatical link is the use of conjunctions, linking words, and phrases. Finally, think about logical links. Look for references to people, places, or ideas that were mentioned in the base text, then come up again in one of the option paragraphs. These kinds of references can provide big clues. Okay, so now it's time to practice recognizing the three different types of links: vocabulary, grammatical, and logical. In this task, take a look at these 4 extracts from a text about Alexandria in Egypt. For each extract, identify what is being linked and decide whether the links are vocabulary-based, grammatical, or logical. You can make notes on your PDF handout. Pause the video now and press play when you're ready to check your answers. Now pause the video and check your answers. Did you manage to correctly categorize each one? Now that we've practiced identifying types of link, it's time to try a practice task. But before you begin, let me explain what you need to do. So, over the next 6 pages, you're going to be looking at an extract from a newspaper article. On each page, you'll need to decide which of the 2 paragraphs should fill the gap that's been marked. It can be really helpful to underline or highlight any links that can help you to work out how the paragraphs fit together. And finally, remember that you might find clues in the paragraphs before or after the gap. Don't only rely on the paragraph before. Okay, let's begin. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to the next question. Question 42. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to the next question. Question 43. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to the next question. Question 44. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to the next question. Question 45. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to the next question. Question 46. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, time to check your answers now. Compare your answers to the paragraph numbers in green and look at the notes which explain the reasons for each answer. How did you do? Now let's talk about the best strategy for approaching part 7. The first thing to do is to read through the main text. Forget about the gaps for now. Just try to get a general understanding of what the text is about and how it's structured. Next, read additional paragraphs A to G. When you've done that, look carefully at the words before and after the gaps. Try to identify any possible links between these and paragraphs A to G, such as pronouns or vocabulary references. Make sure that any answers you choose fit both with the previous and the following paragraph. Now, match any gaps and missing paragraphs that you are sure of. Next, go back through the remaining options and see which of these fit. When you think you've completed the whole text, read through it again to make sure the text makes sense as a whole. Okay, so just to recap, let's look at the instructions for a typical Part 7 exam question. You're going to do this practice task in a moment. You're going to read an extract from a magazine article. 6 paragraphs have been removed from the extract. You must choose which of the paragraphs A to G fits each gap, 41 to 46. In addition, there's one extra paragraph which you won't use. To do this task more easily, print out the reading handout, which contains the optional paragraphs A to G, so that you can have it as a separate document next to you, or have it open on another device. First of all, read the main text. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to paragraph 2. Remember, you can use your PDF handout for the task if it's easier. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to paragraph 3. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to paragraph 4. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to paragraph 5. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to paragraph 6. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to paragraph 7. Pause the video and press play to read extra paragraphs A to E. Pause the video and press play to read extra paragraphs F and G. Read paragraphs F and G. When you've done that, you'll need to go back and try to identify any possible links between the paragraphs. When you think you've completed the whole text, read through it once again to make sure the text makes sense as a whole. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to check the answers. Now take a few moments to check your answers. Pause the video while you check, then I'll explain the reasons for the answers. Question 41, the answer is F. This is because of the big project referenced both in the first paragraph of the text and also in paragraph F. Question 42. The answer must be B because of the reference to the Sultan's suggestion in the following paragraph. Technical expertise, etc. came together to make the Sultan's dream a reality. What dream? This dream is mentioned in paragraph B. Question 43. The answer here is D. This is clear because of the link between the mention of traffic hell and the mention of 3-hour trips and gridlock in paragraph D. Question 44. The answer is G. We know this because the topic of the North Anatolian Fault is introduced in paragraph G and is then explained in greater depth in the following paragraph. Question 45. The answer is A. Again, we know this because it introduces the topic of earthquakes along the fault line. The following paragraph goes on to talk about the history of earthquakes on the fault line. Finally, question 46. The answer is C. This paragraph bridges the gap between the paragraphs either side of it, moving from talking about recent earthquakes to the chances of a future earthquake hitting Istanbul. So the one paragraph that isn't used is paragraph E. And that brings us to the end of Reading and Use of English Part 7, Gapped Text. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it's been really helpful and you feel more prepared to tackle this task. Before I leave you, I just want to give you one final tip. Read news articles in English. Reading news articles online is a great way to help you prepare for the advanced exam and for your language development in general. But this will really help you with Part 7 in particular. As you're reading, actively look for vocabulary, grammatical and logical links that the writer uses to develop his or her story or argument. So, thanks again for watching, and remember to do the practice activities and quizzes in this module to consolidate the techniques you've just learned. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.